Hello and welcome to DDOCast episode 660, recorded live on Saturday, December 11th. I'm your host, Patrick. With me this week, we have returning to the show, Axel.
Hey, what's up? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, welcome back. We were talking about this before. It's been a bit.
It
Great to
has.
have you back on the show. We also have fan favorite Vooduspyce.
Hey everyone.
Yeah, welcome back to you as well. Also, it's been not as long as Axel, but it's been a little bit. Been a minute. Let's see, the screenshot of the week. Nice colors. Just say that right off the bat. Sequel finds a mysterious tower in the 534th. Screenshot of the week. So yeah, that's out in Saltmarsh. That's the back to basics quest spot. Right, that's where you go for that in Saltmarsh. That's a really. I love the colors in this. That's a man. Can we take a moment to give props to the DDO painters who made that skyline with that sunset or sunrise? That is beautiful.
It is real nice.
Looks good.
Well done. We like to talk about Dungeons & Dragons online nearly every weekend. You can catch us through Twitch, YouTube, the DDO forums, iTunes, or from our website at DDOcast.com. DDOcast is hosted by CyberAir's the awesome podcast hosting network. Shows are usually available within a few days of recording. You can stay updated by following us on our social media pages. At DDOcast on Twitter is the best place. Or you can check out DDOcast.com. We have a calendar, which is a great place to kind of keep up, usually when I'm paying attention to it and being a good boy. Let's talk about the next shows. For those of you looking at the calendar, Christmas is in 2 weeks. So, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. It's fully in that time of year. I no longer have a valid reason to be bah humbug about Christmas music. Like, it is that time of season. I'm very much like, Christmas music is not before Thanksgiving. Hard no. Right? Like, you got to get through Thanksgiving before you can have Christmas music. And Thanksgiving does not end until the Friday after Thanksgiving is over.
Like I think it should be against the law to have Christmas music played except for on Christmas Eve and Christmas.
Wow, even more so than me.
I don't know if I'd go that harsh. Yeah, definitely after Thanksgiving. Wait till after Thanksgiving for sure.
I like Christmas music. It's just it's really easy to get overplayed. In any case, Christmas is on the weekend, so there's not going to be a live show that weekend. New Year's is on the following weekend. Jury's out about that. Basically, this may be the last live DDOcast show until January 8th, which is when we're planning on doing our update 51 and 52 review show. We'll do a review for both of those at the same time. That does not mean that there will not be a show. It just means that I probably won't be doing it live because of the holidays, and next week is a I'm working a Nutcracker, so like there's just no time to do one next weekend. So that's why we're doing this. I think Voodoo actually commented before, like, this seems a little early for 2020 in review. Maybe. I think usually we do it kind of on the back half, but it just seemed to fit right here for me this year. So that's what we're going to do this week. We're going to talk about 2020 in review and all that fun stuff with that. This is, I think, kind of one of my favorite shows that we do. Like, I love doing the reviews of updates too, but getting to look back at the whole year, that's always fun for me. I always enjoy that. So let's jump into game news. We do have a bit to go over, including something that somehow in a show with Jerry on the show, I think we forgot to mention the guide to getting help in DDO, which is they made changes. They're making changes to how they submit tickets. I think, again, I'm a little confused at how many times we've changed in the last year. It seems to be something that gets mentioned frequently. Like, anytime Severland's on a camera with a microphone, he mentions how they're changing the how they intake tickets. This change has been made. You can go look at I think it's a new portal. I haven't used it myself yet, so I don't know if either of you guys have, but just know that it's changed.
I I have not looked at it.
Yeah, I looked at it briefly, like the guide, anyways. But it's there. There's a way like you should be able to get it inside the game. There is, you can do it outside the game, which was true before. Um, it's a little weird for me to even see what's different. Except, well, it does look like you have to create a new help account separate from your game account. I think that's probably the big change here. Or at least that's what I understand from reading this. But yeah, it's hopefully it just gets better, right? Like the system just gets better because game support has been a sore point with a lot of players this year. It has not been with me, but I have not needed anything from game support. So
I've had like one bad experience, but yeah, I mean, overall, I do see a lot of complaints. I mean, I had one experience where the store just gave me the wrong augment and it took
that's
forever to
interesting.
get a response. But other than that,
At
they
least
do need to improve it.
At least with an augment, like that's a pretty low cost
Exactly.
thing.
I really didn't care that much because it was like I forget like 70 DDO points, something like that.
I got a guilty who lost past lives, and it's been a month with no response.
Yeah. I have a guildie who has had an issue being investigated for over a year, and he basically left the game because of it. So,
oh damn.
Yeah. And it was a pretty major issue. So, yeah, someone in the chat is saying that it took 4 months to get a copy paste non-response. So, yeah, it's not been good. Let's just leave it there. And yeah.
Let's hope 2022 is the year that DDO bounces back in the customer service department.
I mean, I hope so. I mean, I hate to say it, but at this point, I'm not super optimistic about that.
I know you can't help it.
It's a little sneak peek into 2021. I wasn't planning on talking about customer service in that review, but I think this is sufficient to say it's like it hasn't been good.
It needs work.
It needs to improve, right? Like it's driving players away. That's the fundamental problem, right? It's driving players away, and that's not good. So it needs to be better. So it's not driving players away. Like if you're driving players away because you can't respond to tickets, like something needs to change there. That's you're losing money over that. Update 52. Hey, update 52 is here. So we'll talk about that. We got release notes. So this was on Thursday, December 9th, and there was a hot fix yesterday on the 10th. This is the Portent of Dread, new free-to-play quest available called Dread Sea Scrolls. Foxpaw the Gatekeeper has a plan to destroy Codex pages once and for all. What could possibly go wrong? Everything could go wrong. Speak with Joel inside the hut from beyond in the harbor to begin the adventure. It's level 6 on Heroic, level 32 on Legendary. Some interesting things out of here. One, why is it in the hut?
That was my first thing I was wondering. Like, wait, is this connected to Feywild somehow? Like, I didn't understand. And like, I was like, I don't really understand the lore for Isle of Dread, so maybe there's a connection there, but I don't know. It did feel weird to me though.
What I took away from it is that this hut is now, because it has doorways. If you've noticed, there's doors all over the place inside the hut that's been there. And so I think this is our own little miniature sigil city of doors that's going to go to everywhere. What a convenient little hub for them to use. I'm not crazy about using the hut for that, but that's the impression that I walked away with.
Well, also the NPC Foxpaw is the same NPC from the Lost Gatekeepers pack. He's one of the students, so it does tie into Lost Gatekeepers.
I mean, I guess if you're going to use Foxpaw as your NPC, you can't put it in the Gatekeeper's Grove because he's already there in a different context. But this does. I mean, I haven't even looked in the harbor because isn't there supposed to be like a mysterious island out in the harbor now? Like,
Oh, I didn't see it in the harbor. It's in the quest.
I thought
It
that.
teases you in the quest, but I didn't see it in the harbor.
Well, it says a mysterious island appearing off the Stormreach harbor.
Yeah, I meant it's in the quest. It's off the harbor in
Right.
the quest,
Oh,
but
okay.
I'm not sure if it's in the in the
Actual
Stormreach
harbor.
harbor.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, it is. It is in the quest. It teases you. It's like there's the island. Don't you want it?
Yeah. For all of their talk about making it easier to get from place to place and get into questing, I don't understand why we're turning the hut into a hub. Like, why? It doesn't.
Yeah,
Anyways,
it probably would have been more appropriate to put it in just in the harbor somewhere, I guess.
I don't know what the better answer is. I just don't think it's the hut. Anyways, like if you're doing something in the Feywild or even some other planes or something, although we have the Tower of the 12 for that too, like, yeah, I don't know. Anyways, so you can or even speak with Irish Joel. I don't even know who the heck that is. Like, that's not Fox. Anyways, quest is level 6 and heroic, level 32 on legendary. So the level 32 is not surprising. I think some of them did kind of talk a little, like maybe they're going to push some of these quests up a higher level after they raise the level cap with Isle of Dread. So this might change later. I think the more interesting part though is level 6 on heroic. Because I don't expect them to change that. So that would kind of indicate to me that when Isle of Dread hits in heroic, we're probably looking at a level 6 to 7 range. Maybe 7 to 8, somewhere in that space. Which I think kind of pushes the 7 to 8 kind of makes a little bit of sense, right? Because if you look at you'd have Borderlands to, shoot, what's the Saltmarsh is 3.
Saltmarsh.
Yeah, Saltmarsh to Feywild to Isle of Dread, and then into Ravenloft. Right, so you can kind of see how they're
Shadowfell.
Sure, Shadowfell. I mean that's
Like
not
what
really...
late heroic, like forget, like upper teens, something like that.
Stormhorns is 19. Wayloon is
I think it's 17.
16.
50. Yeah, you're right. 16
I wanna
because
say
the Prelude
16.
ones are 15,
Yeah,
and the actual quests are 16.
and Sharn is 15, 16. So the expansion after Isle of Dread will probably, if I was going to guess, is going to be in that 13, 14 range. So that's kind of what I'm guessing there. Anyways, so new quest. I haven't run it yet. I know Voodoo, you ran it. It seemed like they're having some problems with the crests and stuff, so I was a little less inclined to go try it right now.
Yeah, I ran it for the first time last night, and I did run into that bug.
Mm-hmm.
What bug?
There's something with the crests. I know for me, there was 2 of one particular crest, and it bugged the quest to where it would accept the crest in the wrong slot, and you couldn't put the right one in the correct slot anymore. So there's like a slot you couldn't fill.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
makes
so it broke the
yeah.
quest. There's a
So
couple other bugs as well, like the fog war on the map is not showing, and I think I'm not 100% sure on this, but I think one of the trap boxes is not interactable.
speaking of crests, I would like to make a special little mini rant that let's stop making them drop on death or something, or because the problem is these crests are falling through the floor in quests,
Oh dear.
and then you can't pick them up. So this has been an ongoing problem in one of the Sharn quests. I can't remember which one, but it's the one where you need the four
No
crests.
refunds.
No, not that one.
Not the first one in the
Sharn
second chain?
Docks. Sharn Docks.
Oh, okay. I know the one you're talking about. I don't remember the name of it off the top of my
Whatever
head.
won that one. And then that same thing happened to us in one of the Saltmarsh quests where you're on the ship under cover of darkness. You can drop crests in there, they fall through the floor, and you can't pick them up.
That's not good.
and then you can't complete the quest. So let's fix this because, yeah, underling assignment is the one from Sharn Docs. Thank you, Tough.
Yeah. So here's kind of the question about that. If you don't want them to drop on death, you would have to wait for a death timer to raise someone to put it in potentially. Granted, better than the quest bugging and you not being able to complete the quest.
Maybe make it float. They just fall a little bit through the floor. It's due to say sloppy borders being coded, let's say.
Yeah, I don't know. You do occasionally get like a rem chest in there too, right? Like a remnant underneath the ground. It's like, no, give me my remnant. It's on the floor. And you spend like a minute and a half like trying to get your moving like just that little tiny bit, right? To try to get that remnant. And then if you do get it, it gives you like 3. It's like, oh, thanks.
Exactly.
I just spent 5 minutes trying to get this quest, this chest, and I got 3 remnants out of it.
Yeah. No, it's a good point. I think that I don't know if drop on death is tied to drop on leaving. Like if they have to be both to work. Definitely you want drop on leaving, right? Because if someone and also like do not destroy. Like instead of it destroying, it drops. I've definitely run into that problem occasionally. If you've ever run Chains of Flame and gotten to the end and then had like, oh, someone destroyed the last key we needed. Thank you, Var, a friend from long ago. Let's see other notes. Get into the rest of the notes. Let's see. Or actually, did you guys like, other than the bugs? Did you guys like the quest? Was it kind of fun?
It's okay. I don't know. I'm gonna run it again today. Well, okay. There's the tile puzzle at the beginning. It's, I think one of my complaints is it's really hard to get to the various tiles in the puzzle. It's in this little cramped room, and you have a tile puzzle. It's in a column right in the first room, and of course it is an optional. But I found that puzzle kind of hard to actually get to the tiles. There's a lot of stuff in the way, just visually.
Okay.
But it's fine. I mean, other than that, it's fine.
To me, like I kind of feel about the same way. Kind of middle of the road about it. It's nothing particularly exciting. It feels like, in terms of architecture, like the same person who coded "I Know Who Done It" probably did this one. It just kind of has that feel to it, not thematically or the plot or anything like that, but just from an architecture of the quest, it kind of has a little bit of that going on. And but props to the Princess Bride references. That is always a bonus.
And I really like the tease because you go out to the docks and you talk to some NPCs and it's like, hey, there's an island. You can actually see it. And it's like, don't you want it? It's out there. Don't you want to go to it? Don't you want to get the expansion? Kind of serves its purpose really well. Is a nice tease to the expansion.
Right. To answer the question in the chat, I do not. It's not a part of. He's saying X1, which is Isle of Dread. I think. I'm assuming it's gonna be like Lost at Sea, is my understanding. So it's not like it touches in it, but it's not actually part of the expansion, if that makes sense. It's related to. It's a prequel, if you will. Let's see. Yeah. Why I call it Portent of Dread and Dead Sea Scrolls. Yeah. There you go. There's the module. Look at Voodoo turning around and pulling stuff out like that. That's why we get him on the show. Enhancements. Diversion from Ninja Spy now adds its 5 sneak attack dice without requiring you to be using a quarterstaff. Was that a bug? Like, it seems weird that it would be intended. Yeah. The Crown of Summer from Druid Season Herald is now you have plus 15 enhancement bonus to positive healing and plus 15 enhancement bonus to melee power and plus 15 enhancement bonus to range power. I believe that is an increase. And Sherry did go over these last time, so I won't go over all, but I believe that's an increase. I also have seen reports that it is not working correctly, or one of the two is not working correctly. See, some fixes in Destinies. Hopefully, that's kind of the goal there. The festival gesture of the festival is here. Um, the so the cookies are supposed to there's supposed to be new cookies with new benefits that taste better and have fewer calories. I have not seen the new ones. I haven't turned any of my coins in, but I did kind of quickly glance through some of the ones that I already have, and some of them are Epic Destiny abilities. So I saw Shard Storm was one. One of the moon ones, moon abilities from Majesty of the Eclipse was an ability. And these are like level 1 cookies, so you can use these at low levels. So that's exciting and interesting. And then most of them though are kind of like the same thing. It's like, oh look, yeah, I don't care about that anymore. I'm still not excited about the Snowball Swarm one. It still just is not super great. So, oh, Cambo saying Rejuvenation Cocoon is a cookie again. It was a cookie before. So, let's see. There are new Reaper bonus effects that can drop on gear while in Reaper mode. So they're, I think, mostly related to rings are the new ones. There's one that was like +1 to DCs. I think one of them was like +5 melee and range power. Some stuff like that. You can also speak to the second Reaper vendor in the Hall of Heroes to enhance your gear with Reaper bonuses. Cool idea. Here's what you need to be able to add Reaper bonuses to your gear that doesn't have it. First, you have to have 50 Reaper points. It's kind of a barrier. Voodoo, do you?
I'm out.
Yeah, Voodoo, do you remember how much Reaper XP that is off the top of your head?
2.5 million, I think.
That sounds about right.
I'll check it.
Which is a fair bit. Like if you're not running Reapers a lot, that's gonna take you forever and a day to get there. The other thing is you need to get 100 bits. So there's a new crafting material, surprise. And the way that this works is you take an item that has a Reaper bonus on it, give it to the vendor, he crunches it into a bit. And I do mean a bit, 1 bit, unless you have like one of the higher cost ones, which you can get 5. And you need 100 of these bits to upgrade an item. So I've already seen some conversations in people that I run with, like, wow, that's really expensive. Forget that. By the time I get something up to that, it's gonna be outdated gear anyways. So the cost, at least what I've been seeing, and Voodoo, I don't know kind of what you're seeing in this vein, the cost seems to be higher than people want it to be or are willing to do.
Yeah, a little bit.
So that's kind of a bummer. The good news is that the system is there, so we can do it. And, you know, costs can always be adjusted. I was actually talking with a friend last night that I think probably a better compromise. If the cost, I think the cost is okay. If, you know how you get the fragments of the 12 when you run some quests and you kill a monster and occasionally you get a fragment of the 12? If you occasionally got one of these Reaper fragments from killing Reapers, I think the system could actually work pretty well.
Oh, that'd be cool. That's a good idea. What I got out of this is that, you know, they don't want it to just be a given that all of
Yeah.
our gear will have Reaper stats on it.
Right.
They want to make us work for it, and they don't want us to have it on everything unless you're like a super hardcore grinder.
Right.
And I think that's fair. You know, there's when you start adding up, if you have a Reaper bonus on every piece of gear, that adds up to a lot.
Yeah, it does.
If you
It really
use
does.
math.
I was a little
and add
surprised
it.
that the Reaper stats is the same cost. Like, they're all the same cost. So Reaper stats is the same cost as like anything else. That was kind of funny.
Yeah, that is actually, that struck me as unusual too. So you can get a +2. If you guys don't know, on a helmet you can get a +2 Reaper bonus to all ability scores. That's huge.
Yep.
+2 stacking to every one of, you know, strength, constitution, wisdom, etc. It's huge.
Mm-hmm. Very highly sought after. Like that's what people seem to chase. I don't see people chasing the other Reaper bonuses. That's what I see them chase.
And it's uber rare right now. I mean, Reaper mode's been
Yeah.
out for 5 years. I have literally pulled one helm with a Reaper stat, 2 stat on it. I've seen others pulled, but personally, one in 5 years, and all I play is Reaper mode. I don't do anything except Reaper mode. 1 in 5 years is pretty toit.
I have at least 5.
Wow.
I know. I'm flexing here. One of them is the Sharn tank helm, the heroic version, which is very kind of a poke in the eye a little bit. I just got one, but it was like a salt marsh helm that I have no intention of ever wearing. So that one I might actually feed to the. You get more bits for feeding a Reaper stat helm. So, but in a world where those items are going to be competing with Sentient XP, too, right? So, but I think if you had a 1% chance to get a bit from killing a Reaper, and maybe a 5% chance from killing a Doom Reaper or something like that, I think it would work pretty well. Maybe the chances need to be higher or something. I don't know, but like I think killing a Reaper should give you a chance to get one of these bits, and I think it would work, and it would be fine. Yes, it would give more benefit to people who play Reaper and higher skulls, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. So, and also I kind of just generally think that people could play higher skulls than they think they can, if they tried and found some friends. But that's me. Anyways,
I agree with you.
Yeah. Someone's saying a strong. Serenus is saying dislike it encourages being greedy and keeping boosted gear. Yeah, I agree. That's true.
I agree with you.
And
too,
I think
that is a problem.
And I think that's another reason why if you get bits off of killing Reapers, then does somebody want this? Oh no, okay, well I'll crunch it. But although I will say that even if you can crunch it, because the value is so low, I think most people will still give it away. Like if you need it, they'll still give it. Not everyone, but I think most will. So we have other things. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but we've had other things where it's like, well, is anyone gonna actually give stuff away now? But they still do. Like it's the raid augment items, right? Like I was really concerned. Like, what's this gonna do to the dynamics of these raid loot pieces that people now can turn into augments?
You and I run in a guild environment a lot, though.
Yeah,
I think the experience would be very different in a pug environment.
That's a fair point. That's a really good point. Let's see. You no longer need to unequip and re-equip minor artifacts and sentient weapons when you log in to get their bonuses. I haven't tested that, but I've seen that note before a few dozen times.
It seems like it works.
Yay! Several new augments are now available in-game. Healing amplification, repair amplification, negative amplification, melee power, and range power. Win.
Good job.
About damn time. Someone go back and find the first show where I say, hey, can we have this? Because it's been a few years.
I hope they drop decently, though. I still have never gotten some of the augments I want for, I think the ones they introduced, I think with Feywild, like accuracy and all that.
Has anyone checked the store to see if they're in the store?
I don't think they are, but I haven't checked in a while.
I mean, I would expect them to end up in the store at some point. And augments have historically been pretty, the most expensive augment is 150 points. So Tough says that they're not in the store. I'm not surprised. I expect they will eventually be. Anyways, great new augments, love it. We want to see more augments, right? The Crown of Summer item enhancement is now the same as the other one. Jerry and I are wondering, hey, is it the same note? It was pointed out in the notes and in the comments and stuff. One is the item enhancement, one is the actual enhancement from Druids. That's why it's in here twice. Let's see. Planar shards are now bound to account, and there was much rejoicing. I don't know if any people are actually still have or are collecting these things because you don't have to go to the subterrane really anymore for any particular reason. But I am claiming this one as my contribution to the community. I sent Linabelle a message a while back. I was like, "Hey, can we do this? This would be cool. Like, what? Is anything being gained by these being bound to character? Can we have them be bound to account? And they're now bound to account. So yay, that's fantastic.
That's funny because I was trying to take credit too because I was just talking
really?
about this like a week ago on the live stream.
I have proof. I actually went and looked. I think I sent this in August. So
That's before me.
But if you don't know, so planar shards are a collectible that you can get down in the subterrane, which I don't think I've seen a group run through in at least a year and a half. But you can, if you get like 150 of them, you can turn them in for a large bag. So if you're looking to get a large bag, you could go farm that ad nauseum if you have a few minutes in between things. You can also get, I think, Ray's cookies. There's some other consumables for lower cost, but the bags were the thing that I was focused on because I didn't have bags when it came out, the large bags when it came out. So it was like this big deal to get 150 to get there. So let's see, eternal flasks and other non-potions, quote, potions, can now be used while moving. So that's cool. Like that. Teleport items such as the Bottle of Mist from Ravenloft expansion are now bound to account. Yay. Still kind of hoping we get the like stable for the horse stable. That would be super sweet, but this is a good interim.
Yeah, that's really nice because I think on one of my characters I either lost it or threw it away or something. So I just threw it on. I just made a bank character and just threw it on over to him because it's bound to account now.
Perfect. Upgrade Tomes of Fate are now able to be turned into purified Eberron dragon shards. So that would be upgrade one specifically. So now you can turn them all into those. Great. My dice rolling brain is very happy because this is where I tend to get them from. Sleeping in Bronpit's bed no longer spams a voice line repeatedly. Thank you. Thank you. The undead necromancer and necromancer in the Forgotten Realms will no longer congratulate you on finding Aratsi's treasure hoard. Okay. See, the giant hold augment traders have had now have the correct descriptions. Enervation and Rend the Soul no longer apply through Death Ward. Yeah, that's. I noticed this a couple days ago, where I got enervated and I had Death Ward and it hurt a lot. Boy, howdy. If Death Ward wasn't mandatory or before, it definitely is now. If you run into something to cast Enervation or Rend the Soul, it hurts. At least on Mid-Skull Reaper stuff, but let's see. While a character is dead and warded from being raised, their health bar icon in the party window will now display a teal skull. Once the raise ward wears off, the skull will return to its normal red visual. Yay, great concept. I have not been in a party where people died since this came out.
I haven't either, but that sounds like a really good change because it's always been annoying having to check the character description to see when their timer wears off.
I did see a post that someone said, "Hey, really cool idea. It's kind of hard to see it. Can we make it better?" So look, anything there is better than where we were, right? Like, I love this idea. We just need to find a happy place of, hey, it's really easy to see. That's kind of what we're looking for here. You can now swap a minor artifact with another minor artifact in the same slot without needing to unequip and then equip the other one separately. I didn't realize that was a thing. But
yeah, that was the problem for both my main tunes.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. You literally would have to pull off your artifact and then re-equip the other one because it was when you tried to just swap it like you would normally do for gear, it acted like you were trying to put on two artifacts.
Right. Yeah, that's no good. like that. Augments can now be slotted while inside dungeons. That's an interesting change. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I mean, it's more convenient to be sure. Do you guys have any concerns about like, okay, stop, I'm going to switch my augments for this next part of the raid?
I'm not concerned.
I can't think of any particular time, but maybe there are somewhere that would be particularly advantageous to do that.
Yeah.
You can
Maybe there
literally
are some.
buy raid loot in a quest right now, so what's the difference?
I mean, anything you can do that for, you can probably just have a swap item for. If there's like a particular effect that would be really advantageous to have on, you could probably just swap an item. So it probably isn't. I don't think it would be a problem, but maybe there's something I'm not thinking of, some combination.
The comment field in a public LFM entry is now saved between the automatic public LFM listing and delisting. Sure. Resetting a group of enhancement trees. So this is either Reaper, Enhancement, or Destinies. No longer increases the cost of resetting in other groups of enhancement trees. Good. Your character's percentage bonus for maximum hit points is now available to view in the plus tab of the character sheet. I should go look at that on my tank because I'm kind of curious how all the percentage bonuses add up. Because there's a lot of them. Heartman PD is saying the scenario brought up with the augments is getting into killing time and wanting to put a featherfall augment in. That's a good use of that change, I must say.
Big time. Featherfall is so important for that raid.
It really is. See, the bravery bonus for the quest difficulty UI now displays bonuses more than 4 digits long. Cool. Let's see. Universal enhancement trees are no longer slotted as active trees by default. You can find them in drop-down menus enhancement windows. Mostly cool. Question about the application, because I noticed like yesterday I couldn't add one in to an empty slot after I'm assuming if I reset my points I could do that, but I'm not sure if I can still switch enhancement trees if I've got enhancement points spent. So yeah.
Yeah, I haven't played around with it. I don't know.
I just noticed that last night, so I don't know if that's a thing, or if that's and they're gonna fix that later, or what the deal is that. Because if it's you can't change your enhancement trees while you have points spent, super not cool, guys. Like not what I want. Make that not happen. So, but yeah, that was kind of something that I saw there. Let's see. There's a new UI option checkbox to hide all your buffs on your character that have infinite duration. Boy, I need to go in and check that because
Yeah, the first time hearing about this, I need to
buff bar
I need to go
space.
look into that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
buff bar space is important. I mean, it's helpful to have on at sometimes, right? But also not. Probably be fine. Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, like, do I want that turned off? Do I want that on? Can I just have a second line? Can I just wrap onto a second line? Like, can we just do that instead? Maybe. Anyways, Dice UI now displays spell resistance failure on all on one line instead of being cut off. Cool. Earning a Reaper action point now briefly displays visuals on your character. Yay! I mean, it doesn't really matter, but I just kind of like the visuals, right? Like, it's just nice when that happens.
I mean, there's been a lot of situations where I didn't realize I had another Reaper point. So yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's been a lot of times where I haven't realized that. So yeah, sounds good to me.
Those are the highlights of that. Update 52 hotfix 1. So this is what came out yesterday. Dread Sea Scrolls is now correctly available to all players. Yay, it's not gated by Sharn. Apparently it was actually gated by Sharn of all things. So
yeah, I heard about that too.
Fixed an issue where displacement was not always working correctly. That's good. And an epic destiny alert has been removed from characters under level 20. Also good. So there you go. There's update 52, release notes and fun stuff. There's a bug / PSA that I'm just going to throw out there. Apparently, they're having issues with the world broadcast system, largely not functioning correctly at the moment. And scheduled broadcasts are not properly sending, or sending one after the other at odd times in the future. It's something they're working on actively. Why this is important? Well, if you're not paying attention to the announcements, then you just may not know when the servers are going to come down. And instead of giving a warning, you get a warning. It's like, hey, the servers are coming down in 30 seconds. Like, oh, what? So if you're one of those people who play at times when the servers go down regularly, there's usually a broadcast, a world broadcast that says the servers are coming down. If you play at normal times, you may not have. I don't think I've seen a world coming down broadcast in 2 years, maybe. Just because I don't seem to ever be on. I only ever see it if it's like an emergency kind of a situation where it's coming down. But just know that system is having issues, so you may not get one. So kind of keep an eye on things like that. Bonus days through January 2nd, 2022. So you have a bit. You can Veteran 3 status is available for everyone. So if you're making a new character, you can start at level 10, but not on hardcore. Because they don't want you to do that on hardcore for reasons yet. So, let's see, the festival gesture is here. We talked about that. So, yay, festival. Let's see, the store news. Rise Again is the sale. 25% off of select reincarnation items, healing items, spell point potions, quest XP, elixirs, through December 16th. December deals continue. 75% this week, 75% off of Sovereign Guild Renown elixirs, 50% off of Racial Action Point tomes. If you don't have those on your character, it might be a good thing to grab. And 35% off of the Fey Dark Illusionist Universal Enhancement Tree, also through December 16th. The coupon is a free white Abishai cookie with coupon Cookie Time through December 16th. Yay. Also, PSA, DDO Quest 2021 is a coupon code that will get you all the adventure packs through, basically this year, because no, there hasn't been an adventure pack since this code came out. So make sure you put that in. Even if you did the one from last year, you want to do that as well, because it's going to give you a little bit more content than what you already have. So make sure you do that. That's through the end of the year. Do that.
Also, the anniversary code, if you haven't used that yet, that expires at the end of the year too, which I still have not used it.
Actually, Lauren just typed it in, that Voodoo that typed in. Yeah, Happy 15 DDO. That's a cloak. So make sure you do that if you want to do that. I have heard that if 200 people send us a screenshot of them putting the Happy or the DDO quests in, send us an email, Voodoo's going to shave his beard. No.
1 million bits. If I get a cheer of 1 million bits on my channel, then I'll shave it.
Wow.
That's
right.
the current rate.
But no, seriously, go put the code in. Please put the code in. I'm going to keep saying this. Yeah. So make sure you get your free content, because we want you to get that content and not have to pay for it later.
Yeah, and the anniversary one also gives you a pick of from a raid loot list, I think, or just various items. Can't remember exactly what's on there, but I know like the Sword of Shadows on there and some other great things.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. That'll take us to community news. We have the 450th Chronicle. Community spotlights. Strimtom hit his goal in hardcore in 4 days, because DDO is his job and he doesn't sleep. I guess. Like that was pretty impressive. That was getting the Reaper cloak, I think, and getting up to third. Like he went straight up to 30, and they got the Reaper cloak, I think. But Vooduspyce is a first look at Dread Sea Scrolls. So if you want to see the new quest, you can go watch his content there. The comment for the week: what is the real name of the Jester of Festival? Bob. That's the bet. Or is Santa Claus copyrighted or trademarked or something? I'm trying to. I don't know. I'm not super knowledgeable about like Hanukkah or Kwanzaa, but I'm not aware of them having a Santa Claus like character associated with them. But
I don't think they do.
yeah, I don't think they do either. Krampus, sure. That would be the horror one. I mean, it could be kind of funny if they put the Jester, like a horror version Jester for Night Revels. That'd be kind of funny for 1 year.
That'd be neat.
Yeah. Nightmare Before Christmas style. That would be kind of fun.
Exactly.
Yeah. Fan site news. We got a shout out for episode last week talking with Cordovan about Hardcore Season 5. DDO players ruse the day. DDO stream shoutouts for Brock and Friends, DDOPL, and Zer Smash. Twitch shoutouts for Skull Priest, Shamus Grobel, and Axel. Playing a little bit on Hardcore. How's it going?
Yeah, I actually did it. I'm doing it this year. I wasn't going to, and I haven't done it since season 1. But one of my friends, Aldbar, he wanted to do it, and I was like, all right, fine. So I've only played 2 sessions. I'm at almost to level 7. Haven't died yet. So
hey, that's
going well
good.
so far. We're just running stuff on Elite. So
right.
I think I'm just gonna go for the 1750 in level 20. So I might just to be safe drop down to hard.
Oh, sure. On YouTube, Saba Jade, Christopher, and Ashen Wings all get shoutouts as well. Let's see. DDOCast news. DDOCast Splat is going to be on hiatus probably until the new year. Probably pick up again mid-January, be kind of a guess. Hey, it's holidays, right? Like, everything gets thrown out the window at holidays. You're trying to figure out what it's going to look like and stuff like that. But that's what's going on there. D&D night on DDO stream will likewise probably have some days off for the holidays. But tomorrow should be Oracle of War, so you can catch me DMing on that tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/DDO stream for some tabletop D&D. I think that'll kind of cover all of that fun stuff. All right, so let's talk about 2021 in review. That's kind of going to be the focus here. So it's been a year. I think we can all agree that 2021 was better than 2020. So it had that going for it in terms of just in general. But we're going to focus kind of on DDO and what happened in DDO and what that kind of looks like. So with that, I wanted to kind of just to give a primer and kind of a refresher. Fables of the Feywild was released in November of 2020. So that led into 2021. And then the first release that we had in 2021 was Update 48, which was Fables of the Feywild, Patch 3, which dropped on January 13th, 2021, which is where we got the new Winter Festival. Oh, so that was kind of the very first new thing we got this year. You guys want to talk about that, or should I just kind of do a rundown of the year? We didn't really talk about how we're going to do this, but it just kind of happens naturally.
Yeah, and we're talking about where they added like the slide, right?
The snow slide, the special champion that you get a bit from, which came up in Night Revels too. That's how they started doing keys for Night Revels as well.
I really enjoyed the new slide. event they added. It was something a little different. I know the winter event in the past has had the ice skates, but it was there's a lot of room to do different things there. Like if they could add more courses, different coins, different
Yeah.
prizes. I think there's a lot of room for expanding that. It was fun just to throw on some music and just kind of, I don't know, just mindlessly kind of grind that.
It was too simplistic, though. I hope there is definitely
Yes,
room for adding more things, and I hope
they
they do add more of those. The UI kind of suggested that that would be the case, but we'll see. As it is, the one little challenge we got was just way too simplistic.
Yeah.
they should add something where you have a chance, more of a chance of failing, like something more challenging, but that can also give you more coins and things if you manage to complete it.
I do
Something,
appreciate that they wanted to come out with something that was a little easier than, the ice jump and the ice skating race, but it was just too simple.
Yeah. I agree. Like we need like a Mario Kart size selection of courses, right? Like have a couple of different ones so you can do like harder, more rewarding,
Yep.
stuff like that. Like I agree. Um, I did find that snow slide to be a little tedious. I know someone who like just like went really crazy doing it for just hours on end and then would sell like he'd get like the snowman and then put it on the shard exchange for like 200 shards or something like that. And
Yeah, that's what I was doing. I farmed it out endlessly.
well,
yeah,
yeah, and from what I remember, this stuff was pretty. It wasn't that grindy to get the stuff, so you didn't have to grind the slide endlessly if you didn't want to.
I didn't find it too difficult to get that to get the stuff out of it. But I like this framework of the event. It was a good first step. Whatever you think about it, it was much improved, I thought, for what we had before. Right, like that was the big thing for me. Like it was just way better than the snow slide and the evening star thing. Like I just liked it a lot better. And it wasn't. It was a fine thing to like, oh, I have 10 minutes, or like I'm gonna watch something and focus more on that, and then playing DDO, and I could just kind of like do that part. So it was a good addition to the festivals that we have. So yeah. February 24th was when we got update 48 patch 4. This is when we got Dryad and the Demigod, the expansion raid, which almost 3 months after the expansion came out, if you can believe that, which was kind of crazy. This also is where we got some of the expanded combat feats. So they kind of reworked the combat style feats that were epic. So we got perfected natural fighting. We got perfect shield mastery and greater shield mastery, that kind of stuff. So they all tied into epic defensive fighting, so that you could it didn't matter which combat style you were on, you could get the same benefit from epic defensive fighting. And then this is also where we had some spell change balance stuff. So this is where they went into a bunch of spells and they changed the dice for a bunch of them. They changed the cooldowns. It was this big balance pass on the spells. Was kind of what was going on there.
Yeah, like I ran through Favorite Soul, like Tiefling Favorite Soul this year with the new spells, and holy crap, it's so good. Like Firestorm, and it's really really good. Like the changes they made, definitely the divine fire spells are the ones that I use the most. The new versions of those are so much better because those spells used to be just not worth using.
Yeah,
Druids get those fire spells well, like Firestorm and Flame Strike, and they are way, way better, especially Firestorm.
my kind of thought on the spell changes at this point are, if you weren't casting these 3 or 4 or 5 spells, you had a boost. If you were using like Meteor Swarm or Multi-Vial, those are the spells that got hit. But also, like, it's fine. Like, I don't as someone who runs an Alchemist as kind of the primary TR build, the multi-vial changes took a little bit getting used to, mostly from a cooldown perspective, but it still blows stuff up just fine. Like, I'm not having trouble killing things, particularly in like low skulls and stuff like that. So really just kind of cruises through. I do find it interesting that Grey Wolf in the chat said that the music likes the music in Dryad. It's the only time they ever turn on the game sound. I feel like I've had more people say that they can't stand the music than have said that they love that music. I personally kind of like the music, even coming from a perspective of I'm in a weird place of because I work in theater, that it's not uncommon for me to be like, okay, well, I'm done with that show tune because I've heard it a lot recently.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like, I would understand. I think it's a fine song, but if you run that raid all the time, yeah, it probably gets annoying.
Yeah,
especially with it being a song in DDO with lyrics, particularly.
although I will say, in the scheme of show tunes, it's pretty good. Like, it's better than a lot of show tunes I've heard. So that's and I've heard some, because my theater does a lot of new work stuff. So there's like a lot of original music that's written, like it's never been on stage before. And like, trust me, like they did a good job. Right, I understand like you're not a show tunes person, and that's totally fine. But in the world of show tunes, it's actually a pretty good song. It's a lot better than the song I heard that compared the little engine that could to erectile dysfunction. So, and yes, I saw that song on a stage. So there you go. But yeah, I like Demigod and Dryad and the Demigod. There we go.
I think the one thing I would like to see is when they first kind of hyped it up as being like a musical raid. Maybe it was too much. I don't know. Maybe it was too much work for them. But I would like to see, like, if there's a raid with like 3 different phases, to have a different song for each of the 3 phases. Like, that would be pretty neat. Instead of just one song.
I liked Dryad and the Demigod too. It was a little bit different. I really like that it's easy. It's probably the easiest raid they've ever come out with. And so it's very, very bug friendly. And please, 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 even if you're not a raider, if you want something from that raid, don't hesitate to join like a normal pug of Dryad and the Demigod. It's all you got to do is stay with the group and kill stuff. Like, it's a really, really easy raid.
Don't run over the buttons.
And don't run over the buttons. Yeah. Stay with the group.
It is like the puzzle sections are a little repetitive, just because it's the same thing 4 times. Although in this in the scheme of musicals, that's kind of on point.
But think about doing 4 of the same puzzle essentially compared to writing the storm out where you do like 20 of the same puzzle.
Yeah, there's that. I
do think. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I also kind of have a personal point that, like, they maybe need more solutions to the puzzle. Like, I can use the same solution and solve the puzzle 99% of the time. So.
Yeah, I wish there's a way, like, because of the way people do the puzzles is just kind of memorize the solutions instead of actually doing the puzzle as intended. I don't know if they can add more randomization so you actually have to do the puzzle, but I don't know. If you're a new player and you want to learn the puzzles, at least they've added them in other sections of the game now. Like, there's one in the Salt Marsh Wilderness area, for example, so you can kind of practice them at least. I know when the raid first came out, it's kind of hard to practice the puzzles because that's the only place the puzzles existed in the game. So if you didn't have a group that was not willing to get you in there and give you a turn and wait on you to practice, you couldn't really practice them. But at least that barrier to entry is kind of resolved now.
Yeah, I liked the puzzle. I think it was a really clever use of puzzle. And then at that point, my thoughts get conflicted because I would like to actually have to puzzle it. Like, one of my biggest complaint with Deathworm is it's not a puzzle for, like, those light puzzles. It's not a puzzle for me anymore, right? Like, I know what the solution is, and I'm someone who can hold on to that solution in my head, so I'm not solving it every time. I'm just going through the motion. and there's a lot of them, and it just takes forever. These ones, like, I'm not solving the puzzle, right? Like, I'm just using a pattern that I know, and like there's no thinking involved with it, really. But it doesn't take me very long to do either, and it doesn't slow down the raid waiting for someone to do the puzzle. So that's nice. Like, I like raids having a puzzle. I don't, but I also don't want the raid puzzle to be a barrier to the raid.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, if you don't know, like, haven't memorized the solutions, I mean, no pug is going to wait on you to sit there and actually think your way through the puzzle. So you can't really do the puzzle as intended. I mean,
Yeah.
unless you have friends that are willing to wait on you. I mean, you're going to be expected to memorize the solutions and just run over the buttons. So
Like,
I wish they could actually have a puzzle that you actually gotta do.
Reaver State?
As Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not saying they don't exist, but
Right.
they obviously exist. I mean, there's a lot of, like, the memory puzzles are really good, for example. But yeah, there's a lot of puzzles that aren't that way. If they could just add more randomization, that would probably be an improvement.
Yeah.
That would make it slower, so players probably wouldn't like that.
Yeah, there's that. Although in Dread and Demigod, you could just like speed up the points where like not have to wait for the song to finish, the verses to finish to end the raid. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, like Reaver's Fate is a great puzzle, but also you have to actually do the puzzle. Now, granted, people have made puzzle solvers for them, and then people have to actually, use it correctly, which I've seen not work many times. But yeah, so there's a balance there to be sure. But the raid felt fine. Not my favorite raid in the game. Not my least favorite raid in the game. Perfectly happy to run it a few times, right?
I like the dance mechanic. I thought that was creative.
I agree. It could use a little bit better of a feedback system. I know several people who have trouble seeing the arrow. It's not a super big arrow. Also, if you get raised during it, you don't get the arrow at all.
Huh. I didn't realize that.
At least that's what I've been told. I don't think I've had that experience myself. Because usually if someone raises me during the dance, I don't take it. But yeah, I think you're right. Like, it was a cool mechanic. I like mechanics that when you don't do them, they punish you. You could make an argument that maybe it punishes you a little too much. But yeah, I do like the mechanic. It is a fun mechanic. Let's see. Anything else from update 24? The expanded combat feats were great. Like, I love that everybody has a perfected feat. Whatever combat style you're doing, that was great. But I don't know if I have anything else to say about that. Let's see. Update 49 came in April 21st. This was the Perils of the Planar Eyes. Yes, that has been out for what? 8 months at this point? 9 months? 8 months. It's not a math problem. It's just I'm not trying to think about what months or what. So we got the Perils of the Planar Eyes 4 quests. This is where we also let's throw it real quickly. This is where Lord's March loot got revamped. Which I think it's good that old loot follows the new loot system, but I didn't really care that much about it. And I don't think I've seen a lot of people running around with Lord's March loot or anything like that. But it's good that it follows the same progressions. The big thing here, this is where we got the bow adjustments and game performance changes. So again, yeah, if you can believe that those have been in the wild since April 21st. So the bow changes, this is where they changed the animation. So the animation is it's faster. It's you can amplify it. It doesn't have a hard cap that we hit with like no trouble at all. So bonuses to range attack speed are meaningful. They also changed. This is where mini shot got changed to charges. All of those bow changes. the game performance, this is where they reduce the number of strikes that you're doing. So instead of double strike and double shot hitting twice, it now doubles your damage. So it's the whole idea here was to have players hit monsters less frequently for reasons of effects and stuff like that, because that's what was having trouble being processed, was just the sheer number of effects that we could put on monsters with each hit. And you amplify that number of hits, and then you got into problems there. So this is when the big, huge changes around that, which I think at this point we can say was largely successful.
Yeah, like I haven't really noticed much of a difference in my characters.
I would think that Voodoo and I would have more of an experience with this than you.
Probably
Just
because I don't really play bow characters.
I don't either.
Well, but here's the thing: is the places where I think this manifests the most is in a raid scenario where it's what I call like a stand and deliver boss fight, where it's everyone piles on the boss and unloads. And that would stack up the effects queue, and that's where I tended to see. Like,
you run with a very uber crew though, so you know you guys are.
I mean, it
would see more of that than I would.
Okay. I mean, I remember seeing this stuff in like back when they changed how 2-up and fighting worked. In not Horath, Netherios in Tower of Despair when that was endgame, they changed how offhand attacks work and removed some stuff there. So stand and deliver moments have been a pain point, I think, for a long time when you just get a bunch of people piled on, and it hasn't been Uber groups in my experience. But I take your point. It definitely feels like to me though that like it's been big improvement, right? So particularly in those rating scenarios, that's where I see it the most, and I think that does dovetail out to other places as well. Yeah. Anything you guys want to say about update 49?
I really enjoyed the quests. I thought it was a nice variety. I give the quests high marks for variety. They were nice looking quests. I really liked going back to Manectran again. That was super cool. I really liked revisiting the Sulatar Drow. I really enjoyed the 4 quests that we got. I thought they did an excellent job. I think I gave it an A letter grade when we did the review.
Sounds about right.
I know Whodunit's a really good quest. I really liked having to find the various suspects. It was something very different. I like when they try something, a little unique and out there.
I mostly sort of like that quest. The part where I don't really like it is any quest where I have to go search the area, the open map, and find the little tiny things that we hid throughout the map. Like that I don't really like. Like I have this. That was the big problem I had with Temple Elemental Evil Part 2. Is like here's this big area and go find this little tiny thing.
I don't have a problem with it as long as it's not in a huge area. Like for example, finding the crest in that one Sharn Docks quest. I forget the one we got to fly up on the source sleds to find the crest. Whatever that one's called. As long as it's just in a more confined area, it doesn't bother me personally.
See, I think that's more of a confined area than this is. Than I know Whodunit is. But I think that's, and this is coming from someone who is really has a really good head for maps. I know Whodunit is very twisty. Like it is really super twisty, and turny, and like you kind of go in and out and on yourself, and it's not. I think when you combine that level of complexity into a searching area is not something that I particularly enjoy. But I like the framework of the quest. Also, shout out to Underlane Assignment, which has now been talked about twice in this for the same reason, by its crests. So that's kind of funny. Yeah, it was a good pack, I think. Good 4 quests pack. good variety, like Voodoo said.
Beautiful Nightmares was kind of a callback to Inferno of the Damned.
And Mirror through Mirror Darkly.
And Mirror as well, yes.
The double thing. Although I think I don't mind that quest, but I know a lot of people don't. It's a little. I have a hard time wrapping my head around it because again, like I have that head for maps, so things just click into place for me really well. So the whole idea of like, oh, you have to flip and go to it's the same map, but you flip over, it doesn't give me any problems. But I know a lot of people, it's not their favorite thing.
Like I found it to be quite a bit easier than Inferno, because Inferno, like I don't know about you guys, I gotta have a map to do that quest. Like I'll get lost, but for this one, I really don't have to use a map or anything. I can just go through it.
It can be run pretty quickly, and thanks to my viewers for letting me know, because I didn't know this until probably a couple weeks ago, that the 2 crests you need for Beautiful Nightmares are always in the same place. I thought they were just sort of randomly scattered about. They're always in the same place. You just go get the crests, and boom.
Yeah, it's true. We're also getting the chat's mentioning the caster sticks are pretty good. Yeah, they are. They're a nice addition. I should go farm the heroic ones that I need, but I haven't. So yeah, it was a really solid quest. Like the content was really good here. Really enjoyed it. Still like to run. I don't tend to run I Know Who Done It. Just because I don't. Part of it is I don't want to think about it. Like I don't want to think. Sometimes when I'm just running stuff, like cruising through, like, all right, I know who done it. You really just have to stop. Like, okay, what do I have? What do I need? Where do I go to get it? Where do I go to turn it in? Right? Like, those are all things that I don't always want to be in a mood for.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think that's fine. I mean, not every quest needs to be something you want to run all the time. I just really like when they try things that are a little bit off the beaten path and not just here's a quest, here's some mobs, here's an infight, here's a tile puzzle. Boom.
Yeah, and if you want to learn that quest, like you have to learn that quest. It's kind of like studying Sable in that way, right?
Exactly.
Like there's
it's not too bad once you realize each suspect has his own little area, and you can get the things you need to collect really don't change all that much. So it's not too bad. You just need to go in there, just solo it a few times, and you should be good.
Amber Temple's another one of those that you kind of have to learn the quests. So
yeah, you might actually need to read the dialogue as well. I know people don't like doing that, but yes, it's one where you actually need to read the dialogue, especially if you're going there first time. You're not going to know what's going on because it's very different from a normal DDO quest.
Give it a shot. Make sure. Yeah, it's definitely a quest I think that people might not like just because they don't realize what's going on because they didn't read.
Exactly. You got to read.
But yeah, solid. I haven't done as much bow stuff as I would like, but I do like what I have done. I do like the changes, and it does seem like a better place overall. So, let's see. Anything else about update 49? Kind of cruising through some of this. Update 50, which apparently I didn't put the date in my notes. Well, that was silly.
August 4th?
Sure. Go with that. Update 50 is Saltmarsh, Sinister Secret of Saltmarsh. So that was, I think it's 9 quests, right? Did I count that right?
10.
Is it 10? 9 or 10. There's a place that we can go to look this up. Anyways, so we got Sinister Secret of Saltmarsh. So that was the content. This also came with a couple other things. So underwater combat was changed, which fantastic. Thank you so much. It's still I still don't love it, but the fact that you can like cast fire spells down there is like super helpful. It is 10 quests, by the way. So the combat changes there are really great. We got Horizon Walker, Radiant Servant got a pass. Shatterkai got a pass. The Scroll Steel Shard got a pass finally. The Permanent Hirelings became bound to account. We got Monster Manual Volume 8. This is where we got the itemization balance changes. So the stat squish is kind of what it's talked about more as. Half Elves got cosmetic changes. Against the Demon Quaid pre-raid became a once per life thing. You don't have to run it every time to run the raid, so that was a change that happened here. We also got grouping updates. So this was when you create an LFM, the level range that's put in there is more reflective of how people tend to run content. So in terms of it's your level -2 instead of like this just it was like above and below you, I think, a level or something like that. So they kind of changed that. And this is also where we got Night Revels in 2021 version. So that was a lot more than most of what we've talked about. Like that's as much, if not more, than what we've talked about so far. Yeah, where do you guys want to start?
This is a huge one.
I guess Saltmarsh.
Saltmarsh is a good place to start. Fun quests. I like the content. Danger Dunwater is a little long. That's kind of the one place of the content that, like, it just feels like 3 quests put together, and I don't really understand why it wasn't 3 quests. Like, would they just not want to do like another Tangleroot scenario?
I think they just wanted to keep that is Danger at Dunwater is a module, and I think they just wanted to keep the module all as one quest. I don't know if I agree with that, but I'm guessing that's why.
Like it was one of my more favorite quests. Just I liked reading through the story the first time through. I thought that was kind of cool, but it is long, and I'm not always in the mood to run that long of a quest for sure. So they could have split it up, I guess, but there's probably what Voodoo's holding up right now. Yeah, that's probably why they didn't.
The thing is, that quest doesn't have to run long. If you just do the things it tells you to do, and you know where the crests are in the same place every time, I mean, you could do that quest. You know, that can be a 15-minute quest. But
Yeah,
if there's a lot, I mean, that's a big map. And yes, they could definitely have broken it up into 3 quests easily, because there's like the Eastern Caverns, the Southern Caverns, and the
Yeah.
Western, or whatever. And each one of those segments could have been a different quest. But like I said, if you just go to the places you need to go, it's not too long, and the map is already filled out for you, and it's labeled. So when it says, go talk to the queen, that means go to the throne room. The throne room is labeled. You just go there. But if you are going everywhere and clearing out the whole dungeon, yeah, you can spend a lot of time in there. When we did our first look, we spent almost an hour and a half in there. Now, during our first looks, we purposely go through all the dungeons and check it all out and read everything. But yeah, that one can run long if you don't just do the things you need to do.
Even if you do just do the things you need to do, like, it's the longest one.
Yeah.
Hands down. Like, that's the one that I skip as a VIP. I skip it almost every time.
The one after that, I forget the name of it. The fourth one, the one
Final Enemy.
Yes, that one can be long if you do the Slayer stuff, but that one you can definitely zerg through if you want to just do the main objectives. But if you decide to do the Slayer optionals, that one can be long. And I'd spent a long time in Final Enemy first time as well.
Yeah.
Ooh, and I just did
Dunwater's
a
definitely long.
tutorial how to do the Final Enemy fairly quickly, so I'm gonna put that link in chat.
Yeah, I should look at it just to see how it compares to mine, like my path. So that's, yeah, I'm curious to see that. But in any case, like, it's just the I think part of my thinking of, and just kind of opinion of it being a long quest, one is it's kind of relative to the rest of the content, which is generally pretty short. But also, like, the first time I ran it, like, oh, okay, did this, okay, go back and talk to her. Like, oh, end of the quest. Nope. Go do some more stuff. Oh, well, now I'm going to talk. End of the quest. Nope. Go do some more stuff. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah. I felt the same way first time through. It's like, different parts of the map kept appearing. I'm like, oh, I gotta go there now. Okay.
It just felt like you were done, right? And
Yeah, it did multiple times.
Voodoo, you're probably right that that's probably like it was one module, so they wanted to keep it together. But I don't really understand it from like the business model of like, oh, here's this mini expansion because we only have 10 quests and it's not as many quests as like you could have had 12 quests if you turned this one into 3. And like
I think they could have split up the final enemy into 3 quests too, because there's 3 big levels, and just made more necessary objectives in each of those 3 levels. I mean, that way they could have been like, this expansion has 14 quests. That looks a lot better on paper than 10, even though it would be functionally the same amount of content.
yeah, I think we probably would have kind of sniped him a little bit on that. Like, oh look, there's these really short quests. But I mean, I don't think players would care that much. But I think that would have been. Although at the same time, like they are definitely designing shorter quests. Like they're not designing as many longer quests. But also, there's a place for some of those longer quests too. We just tend not to run them though when we have them. Like I like a lot of them, but I mean, when was the last time you ran the Dragonborn quests? I mean, those were long quests.
You're talking about Black and Blue and Newcomers?
Yeah.
I used to run them every life at Endgame for the Reaper XP, but those a couple months ago I pulled them out of my list.
Yeah, because they're twice as long.
Because they're so long, yep.
They're 2 or 3 times longer than other quests you get, and when you do the math of how much Reaper XP you're getting, it's just so much worse. Again, nice to have them, but yeah, it's a little weird, right? Like, anyways. Axel, you play Divines, I think, more than the 2 of us.
Probably, yeah.
What do you think of the Radiant Servant Pass?
Okay, so it definitely made clerics better. I mean, it made Radiant Servant better, but it was a thing where they called it a short pass. It was kind of a quick pass. I wanted to see them do more. And for me, the tree is certainly better, but it just feels it mainly got better by becoming cheaper. So I can access more abilities now because everything's cheaper, but they're still not that great. Like there's still stuff they didn't touch. There's still like some really bad abilities like martyrdom that's in there. Stuff like bliss, divine healing, really not that good. So I kind of felt myself, if you want to actually get to the capstone in Radiant Servant, I felt like I had to just take a lot of subpar enhancements. So it's better. And I also didn't touch things I really wanted them to touch, like Radiant Servant Burst and Radiant Servant Aura. They didn't do anything. And I badly, as someone who loves playing melee clerics, I badly wanted them to touch Radiant Servant Burst and Aura. If they could do something, I don't know, like Burst, I was hoping they would make it heal a little bit more because it's pretty weak in epics. And then Aura, I don't know if they could possibly make it a permanent toggle. That would be nice. Maybe buff it a little bit. It is like compared to what they just put in Exalted Angel, like Radiant Servant Aura is just pathetic now. I mean, it's like the one in Exalted Angel is like 5 times better. So it really, I don't know. I just wanted to see them do more. And I don't know if any of you all play like favorite soul healers, but I don't. Like my favorite soul is a caster, offensive caster, but it seems like favorite souls are probably still better healers in most situations. But I don't play them, so I'm not sure on that. But that's just what people tend to say.
I mean, here's the fundamental problem with that comparison. Favorite soul gets healing wall. That's
yep.
It's the Radiant Servant Aura, but I can put it wherever I want. It doesn't move, but if I want to heal the tank, I don't have to stand next to the tank to use my ability, which is more dangerous.
Yeah, and I like to run melee divine, so I think Aura has more. I guess it has more of a positive effect for melees divines because you're actually going to be standing near the melees a lot, so it's better in that scenario. But I know that most people are going to be running a caster, as a cleric. So yeah, definitely raiding scenarios where you don't want to be near the boss. Healing walls got to be way better.
Yeah, the player is going to be a big part of it, but the reason why the meta is favorite soul is better than cleric is healing wall. Like that's really what it comes down to because it's just when you're at end game, the fundamental thing about like if I'm the healer, being able to heal and be in less danger, like Favored Soul does that better than Cleric. Period. And it's not even close, right? It's just I can put the healing wall where the tank is set up, and I don't have to worry about the moving problem. Like if you're doing questing, the cleric aura probably works better because it can move with you, and you're kind of moving as a group. But in a raiding scenario, it's you set up the boss over here, and other people are back over here, so that you're not in danger, right? Like you're looking for safe spots to be as a healer, so you're not taking damage. Because if you die, you can't heal anybody. Like fundamentally, that's a problem. So,
yeah, particularly if you're running like high difficulty stuff, I'm sure you don't want the healer, the boss, you're gonna want him back. So yeah, that makes sense.
especially when you start getting to places where it's like, oh, if the boss hits me, I just die. Well, I need to not be in range of the boss. Well, if I'm not in range of the boss, my healing aura can't heal the tank or any of the people hitting the boss, right? So you get into problems like that. Let's see.
So yeah, I think Radiant Servant, I hope they revisit it at some point.
Yeah.
Not the not too distant future. I think it needs a little more.
It definitely needs a little more. I noticed that they just fixed some things in a recent patch where they said, these things stopped you from moving when you use them. We've fixed that. The Radiant Servant has a lot of stuff in it that stops you in your tracks when you use it, and it all needs to get fixed.
I mean, I think they need to revisit turning just as a system.
Yes.
Like turning turning in and of itself is a really convoluted system. It doesn't work like any other system that players really have, right? Like it's based on hit dice, which we just don't have a good understanding of hit dice of monsters, right? Like there's no clear way of knowing that. It's not like like if you're playing pen and paper, you can open up a book. Also, like hit dice are just like so exploded that it's just ridiculous, right? Like so turning as a system just needs to be rethought and redone. And it can't look like what the pen and paper version looks like. It just doesn't work. Maybe you could do it off of hit points or something instead of hit dice. I don't know. There's lots of different ways they could probably go. But the system they have doesn't work very well. Even if you go all in, right? Like it's just not very effective. Especially when you start thinking about like epic and legendary, where you can't turn orange names. Like you can't destroy them. You can turn them, but you can't destroy them, right? Which is kind of a big draw for turning.
I think you can on lower difficulties.
Right. I think once you get hard though, like orange names have Death Ward, and you can't destroy them with turning, so you get some issues there. But even then, like people who really invest in a build and make this cleric build is going to be a turning build, and in heroics it can be great, right? Like you can blast through undead quests all day long in heroics. And I don't really know where the point is anymore because it's been too long since I've really even thought about it or looked at it. But there's a point at which it becomes, turning no longer great, right? Like you hit that point and you hit a wall, and turning becomes kind of pointless. So when you have like Radiant Servant is really big on turns, right? Like it just needs to do, like turning needs to have better effects against monsters, right? And maybe there's like a turning as a debuff option. That would be cool. Maybe like something like that. But I don't know. Turning just needs to be reworked.
And they did add also, I mean, with the domains, obviously you get some kind of a buff as well every time you use a turn. So that's another reason. Like sometimes I'll just in War Domain, I'll just throw out a burst because it gives everyone like 10 melee power. So
which is a good start, right? I think
it's a good start, but I agree. Yeah, they need to. I know they tried this. They introduced stuff ideas before, and people were resistant to it because if they change it, it's going to go away from pen and paper. but they kind of have to go away from pen and paper to make it effective realistically in DDO. So yeah, it's a conundrum. And then if they stick to this succeed or fail system, they're gonna have major balance problems if they make it too good. So it's just it's a tough situation.
I mean,
I'd like to
binary.
mention a couple of other things about Cleric in general and Radiant Servant as well. And that there's in the Radiant Servant tree, in addition to some things stopping you in your tracks, there's a lot of things in there that are just way too slow. They need to either be quickenable or just speed them up, please. And for the love of DDO, can we finally speed up mass heal? Because damn,
Yeah.
this isn't Shroud 2010 where everybody's standing one spot and you got two clerics alternating mass heals. Like that spell is just relegated to damn near uselessness.
It's true.
Yep.
Yeah.
I never use it.
And I think like so
Way too slow.
something you said, Alex, about like getting away from pen and paper. DDO is not pen and paper. It's not. It's not even close, right? Like
What?
fundamental. Like, do you know how long a raid fight would take in pen and paper? A month.
Yep.
Like, it doesn't. Yeah, it's I tell people like in pen and paper that play a lot of pen and paper, it's like, oh yeah, my Dungeons and Dragons online tank has 7,000 hit points, and they're like, wait, what? Like, that's just like having that many hit points on a character, like a pen and paper character, is just like so jarringly mind-boggling, right? Like, we are not pen and paper. Things do not like they should honor pen and paper, and I think DDO does a good job of that. Like, it uses the stuff that it's based off really well, but turning is too much. Turning and damage reduction, those are the two things that we are holding on to as pen and paper way too much, way too closely. It does not work in our game. And the buffs are great, and the healing stuff to use turn undead is great, but turn undead doesn't turn undead well. That's what it's supposed to do. So, I don't know if I don't have anything really to say about the Shader Kai pass. I don't really play on my Shader Kai very much, and I like what they did with it. I just haven't really played with it much. But it works better.
I haven't played it, so
Yeah.
I can't speak to Starter
I
Kai.
haven't played it either.
It is nice to have the chain whip as an ability and not in the enhancements, so that I can use it as a Shader Kai and not have to without spending money points, because that particular character doesn't have points to spend in Shader Kai, the Shader Kai tree very much. So, Horizon Walker, I'm enjoying. I have not played it as much as I was hoping to play it, because that's the character that I'm running with another friend. Draculetta, if you listen to this, we need to play more often. We are playing, like, we're trying to plan when to play. It's just like schedules are just like, he is contagious. Every time I try to schedule something with him, my schedule blows up. Or it's not just his schedule blowing up. It's like he makes my schedule blow up. It's crazy.
Yeah, I had the same issue. I was on their show a few months ago, and we had rescheduled a million times.
Yeah,
because of my schedule, his schedule.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. The RNG of life just does not support him very well. Anyways, but I am enjoying the tree. So she's like, from a leveling perspective, it's working really nicely. So I am enjoying that. Well, guys, thanks for joining us today for our 2020 in review. Axel, why don't you promote your stuff?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm a DDO YouTuber, Axel's DDO channel on YouTube. You can find me making videos there. Streaming also twitch.tv/AxelAlexK. If you want to give me a follow, that'd be appreciated. I stream a lot like evenings during the week, mainly evenings, like Eastern time evenings.
And we're talking about you streaming chess, which...
Yeah, I'm streaming a lot of stuff, not just DDO. A lot of DDO, but also chess and a lot of like retro games. I'll stream a bunch of the old NES Mega Man games as well. So a variety of things.
Mega Man, a place that's near and dear to my heart. I used to play those a lot.
Yeah,
Also,
I played through the first 4 on stream. I'm on number 5 right now.
There you go. I just think it's kind of crazy that chess was like the most streamed game last year.
Yeah, I love chess.
That's kind of crazy. Voodoo, where can folks find you?
Well, I used to stream DDO, but I'm gonna stream chess now, starting immediately.
Dude, let me know. We can play.
You can find me on YouTube, channel Vooduspyce, where you can find over 1,000 DDO videos, quest walkthroughs, raid guides, crafting tutorials, and so much more. And you can find me live streaming on Twitch, channel Vooduspyce, nearly every day. I was live streaming immediately before the show, and I will be live streaming immediately after the show today, live streaming Hardcore Season 5 until I die.
This is why he doesn't want it to be harder. He wants to live stream hardcore longer so he doesn't die. I will say on the chess thing, if you've never played battle chess, check out that version of chess.
I know what you're talking about.
That was great, right?
Yeah, it was. I played that back in the day. It's like
Yeah.
chess, but you get some cool animations.
You get animations when you
Pieces
take
attacking each other.
things. Yeah, it was great. I used to spend time trying to okay, I'm gonna capture each piece with each piece, right? So I could see all the animations. So that was a lot of fun. Thanks for listening to the show. Thanks. We had a very lively chat today. That was a lot of fun to have. So thanks for joining us there. And thanks to Axel and Voodoo for joining me today. And thanks to all the contributors for DDOCast. If you would like to support the show, you can visit our website at DDOCast.com, or you can support us on Patreon, or you can also just watch stuff. That helps too. If you have a DDO-themed webpage or you Twitch DDO and you'd like to be featured on our website, you can email us at ddocast@gmail.com. You can also hit us up at ddocast.com for show notes, MP3s, our calendar, previous shows, and other fun stuff, including various adventures in DDO, D&D, tabletop, and even some other games. If you have a comment on this episode, a question you'd like to hear us answer, a topic you'd like to hear us discuss, or you just want to say hi, leave a comment or email us at ddocast@gmail.com. You can also find me on social media for latest cast updates. At DDOCast on Twitter is the best place. Remember, we probably won't have a live show for a couple weeks as well. So until next time, may all your attack rolls be crits, all your chest level appropriate, have fun, and don't forget to gather for buffs.